evening. I'm Steve.
And I'm Butch.
And welcome to another episode of The Last Podcast You'd Want. How is everybody doing? I know it's been a minute since we've had an episode out. I've been living life. Let's be honest, I have been playing Tears of the Kingdom for the last 3 weeks. Pretty much every day, all day. I just now got to what I feel is the final mission. It's called Find Ganondorf or Destroy Ganondorf. Ganondorf is in the title of the final mission, what I'm assuming is the final main mission. So many side quests, so many side stories, so many shrine missions. This game is extensive at all. Butch, are you playing Link at all?
I am not, though we do own it. I am on a deadline right now, so I don't know when I'm going to get into it. I'm trying to do the adult thing
No, I
since I
feel you.
technically have to be my own adult, which is such bullshit. But I guess that's
Isn't
how it
it?
goes.
Isn't it? You just the
I'm
parents
just
one day are
like,
just the
just
parents
knock
are
out this
like, go.
article, just knock out this article, and then you can play all Tears of the Kingdom that you want. But you have to do the article because you want to do the article, and the article pays you money.
And that's where it all comes down to. It is what pays you the money. Butch, we are so happy to have you back on the show. I'm sure that you just finished watching another viewing of De La Soul or Summer of Soul.
I mean, it has been a couple weeks, and I do think about it all the time. However, I would like to say to anybody who is a longtime viewer or listener of this podcast, when I come on, I'm only talking about bangers.
That's right. At banger after
I,
banger
I demand
after
at least a
banger.
best picture candidate, or I don't come on the show. That's in my
That's right.
rider.
All right, well, we're going to start off the show real fast. We got some great birthdays. I want to see how you're going to fare on this one. I'm going to name the actor or actress. If you don't happen to know who they are, I'm more than happy to give you a couple titles that they have been in. But we're going to start with actress Gina Gershon.
And I guess the birthday?
Yeah, you guess her age because today is her birthday.
Hey! 53.
61.
Wow.
It's a good guess. How
Good for
about the star of Road Trip and the new guy, DJ Qualls?
38.
45. I like how you're undershooting on some of these. How
Honestly,
about
I always undershoot on people's ages. I think that's why a lot of women like me.
Probably. It's probably why you hooked your wife. Elizabeth Hurley. How old do you think Elizabeth Hurley is?
56.
Oh, that is the closest you have gotten. She is 58. That is the closest you have gotten today. How about actor Shane West from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
37.
45. We got some good ones. I got some good ones here on this page. I'm gonna jump ahead just in case I got a better one. Oh, here we go. This is a great one. Jürgen Prochnow. You know Jürgen from Beerfest and Das Boot.
Oh, okay.
And Beverly Hills Cop 2. He's old.
66.
82. There we go. How about Lily Sabowski? We got Miss Lily Sabowski.
44.
Let's see here. It decided to jump ahead here. Hold on a second. We're almost back on the birthdays. I hate my computer. 40. Very close. And we're gonna end. Hey, we're gonna end with a very fucking funny comedian here. Funny fucking guy from Massachusetts. Mr. Bill Burr. Huh? How do you think fucking Bill Burr's turn today?
Oh, is that fucking asshole birthday?
Yeah, that fucking asshole, Bill Burr.
Oh, look at me. I'm here. I'm alive. There's a fucking cake. There's some goddamn candles. This fucking guy.
Fuck you. I got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes. I hope this whole fucking town dies. One fucking bridge in this town. I love
as somebody who was born in Pittsburgh, by law, I have to love that sketch.
Oh, did that happen in Pittsburgh?
No, it happened in Philadelphia to Philadelphians. So
yeah.
I'll say 51.
55. Normally I would do top 6 in the box office, but I'm going to go ahead and just do top 3. Number 3, 12 Million, The Boogeyman, a movie I do want to check out. Number 2, 41 million, The Little Mermaid. And coming in at number 1 in the box office this week, the movie that we are going to be talking about today, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, coming in at $121 million. Now, I'm going to run over real fast the trailers that I caught. If you remember them, Butch, awesome. If not, no problem. But
Gotcha.
we got Elements, a first official full trailer for Elements. Blue Beetle, the final trailer for The Flash. That Ruby something Teenage Kraken movie. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Gran Turismo.
Didn't get the Turtles, but I think I got the rest.
Okay. Of all of those, I'm seeing Flash next week. I definitely want to see Blue Beetle. I definitely want to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I believe I'm going to end up seeing The Flash at some point in the theaters. The problem with the theaters, of course, as we are about to get into, is I have to go back for Spider-Verse at least
one more time.
2 more times.
Yeah. And we get into Spider-Verse. Okay, so folks, if you have not seen Across the Spider-Verse and you do not want anything spoiled, stop listening right now. We are going to be talking about everything and anything, everything, all at once. Spider-Man, all of it. We're talking it. Let's just start with, I was so blown away by this movie, and much like Fast X, spoiler alert, when there's 10 minutes left, I'm like, there's like 10 minutes, how are they going to wrap all of this up? Spoiler alert. Oh my God. I'm hoping it's next year. Spider-Man.
They're saying next March.
Less than a year.
That's what they're saying.
Holy shit. That is why
I did almost make a joke to my wife.
This is why they've
been. If we stay in these seats for like 10 months, like
this is why they recorded for like 2 years.
Yeah,
they were recording both movies. They matrixed it. They Lord of the Rings'd it. They Back to the Future'd it.
Several people had disappointed moans when the to be continued thing happened, but I knew that was happening going in. And also, I kind of feel like that movie just literally transports you anyway. You're literally forget. Like the opening piece with Gwen and going into her backstory and what had happened
20
was
minutes.
So good. When they did the credits afterwards, I forgot movies had credits.
Dude, you get 20 minutes. You get this not even an opening credit. You go right into the film basically, and then 20 minutes into it, you get the actual opening credits. I love that movies do this nowadays. Like there was another movie that I went and saw that it was like 20 minutes. Oh, it was Babylon. Babylon is like 20 minutes into the movie before you get the opening card. Like, the Gwen story is amazing. My only complaint, and this is the only time I'll say it, my only complaint about going to the movies, we need subtitles. I do not know half of what the British Spider-Man said. Oh. And even when I go and catch it the second time, still going to have no idea. I'm going to see if they have that little closed caption machine.
I know. It's another reason to own the movie.
100%.
I did see a couple interviews where Daniel Kaluuya, who plays Hobie, a.k.a. the Spider-Punk, a.k.a. Mr. Don't Steal Your Girl, except he does, sort of. It'll make sense when you see the movie, kids. But he got to also do wide swaths of improv. The actual character of Hobie is from the same town Daniel is from. So they let him improvise and play around and
So he's got just actual British slang just going in there that just British people, only British people in England are going to watch this and laugh at the cracks he's making because they're going to understand him.
Yeah.
The boxes, there's so much going on, and they give boxes for different Spider-Mans and things. And at one point, Hobie says a British term, and then it gives the translation of it in a box.
Yeah, they had a lot of.
It happened so fast. I literally was reading I know it's not Barney Rubble, but Barney Rubble is a rhyming translation to, and then it was gone, and I'm what does it mean? Slang. Yeah.
But they also utilize that several points during the movies, like a real comic book style, like asterisk, like thing, like in a bottom right corner and like an upper left corner, just like blah 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 for episode 4 and season 6. Woo.
And I love that. I love they go into that. I love I love the universes we explore. The fact that there's a Lego Spider-Man verse. When they go into the Venom verse, the mere fact that they go into the Venom verse, that it's like Miss Chang and she's like, "Oh yeah, you got spots on your
Oh,
face,"
and the thing the
and,
Spot
and
takes,
he's just
and the
like,
gum the Spot takes is Venom Mint.
did not notice that. Did not notice that. And he's just like, for you, it's a Tuesday. I wish he had said Thursday because that would have been a good
The day
Street
he was saying
Fighter.
it, yeah.
Yeah, a good Raul Julia reference.
I did want to jump back to Gwen's thing real quick, just to
Yeah,
further
yeah.
illustrate another one of the great things about this movie.
I love her
Her
watercolor.
background is more like watercolor.
Yes, yes.
And it literally shifts and like moves around based on like her mood. There are like moments where like she's talking with her dad and the background is almost black. There are like happier and more like there's more pinks, there's more purples, there's some whites, like,
It's so
but it's such like
good.
a complete tonal shift. Like the universe has been built into its own universe that plays by its own rules, but that informs everything about that universe.
Yeah, it's the water. I love the watercolor. I love the different effects that we get throughout the film, the different styles. We start with the watercolor, then we go into Miles, which is the more digital, like crisp and clean. I had mentioned it to you beforehand, but there were times when we're in Miles' universe that I'm looking around, seeing if I forgot my 3D glasses because it's just so layered
Yeah.
that it almost has a 3D effect to it. I love that we get the Vulture. They're like the Vulture, and I love the Vulture is one of my favorite villains. My favorite villain from Spider-Man is Kraven the Hunter. I'm really bummed that we haven't really gotten anything Kraven at all. I'm half excited for the Kraven the Hunter movie that they're making, only based on what I've heard about the movie. To have Vulture, and then we get this like classic Italian, almost Da Vinci
I was
esque.
gonna say like Renaissance era, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Vulture. It's just the introduction of the 2099 Spider-Man. Oh my god. And they give you every Spider-Man that you can think of.
And
My one of my favorite incarnations is in there. Sorry, Butch, go ahead.
no, and I was going to say a similar thing happens because it took me in like a couple days thinking about the movie after seeing it to realize like they do the introduction for Miguel O'Hara, Spider 2099, and it goes into his backstory and why he's so militant about this. And then the next person you meet is Spider-Man India, Prakar Pravaka. I'm saying it wrong, but he's the one who hasn't had the canon event yet. So he's just everything is fine. I have this cute girlfriend. Look at this. There's a lot of traffic, but everything is fine. I love being Spider-Man. La la la. And it's just
It's
like the
and
direct contrast without beating you over the head of
Sure.
like a Spider-Man who's had everything taken away from them versus somebody new who hasn't had the tragedy slash canon event yet. It's like, Spider-Man's awesome.
And I love the actor they got. I forget his name because I would have misspoken and
Karin
given the
Sony
sure. Yeah, I just know
from
him
the
as
Deadpool movies.
Deadpool. Yeah, he's the cab driver.
And one of the great Brooklyn Nine-Nine guest appearances as well.
I will be honest with you. Never really watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I am not a huge Andy Samberg fan. I love Lonely Island and the stuff that he's done with them. But I've stated on the podcast multiple times. I walked out of Hot Rod in the theater because I thought it was stupid. And this is coming. This is coming from a 20-something-year-old stoner that watches like the dumbest shit ever, and he's doing the montage in the forest, and I just remember leaning forward and looking at my friends and going, this is fucking stupid. I'm going to Sunshine. And then I got up and went to Sunshine with Cillian Murphy and Chris Evans, and it was a much better film. But
I mean,
that's just
Brooklyn
me.
Nine-Nine's fun, but it's a TV
I
show,
I would
and it
watch
is
it. I would
carried
watch
by
it.
the cast more than it being like an Andy Samberg vehicle.
Sure. I'm
So,
not gonna lie. I love Terry Crews. It's one of the main reasons I would probably watch the show. I think Terry Crews is hilarious.
Joe Truglio is on it. Chelsea Peretti, Stephanie
Sure.
Beatrice.
Oh yeah, huge, great cast. What Jordan Peele's wife? She's on it, right?
Yeah, yeah, Chelsea Peretti.
Yeah, I don't know
No,
her actually. I just know her.
and
I
Andre Brower playing both with and against type.
But going back to Spider-Man, um, they give so much. I think the only Spider-Man, and you know what, he's probably in there. I wasn't hardcore looking for him, but I don't know if we get the symbiote suit Spider-Man.
We don't get like individual time, though. I have seen in like a couple of YouTube videos, like when they have, for lack of a better,
The back pan of everyone.
yeah, and also the chase scene that results after that, in which it goes like full last 15 minutes of blazing saddles for like an hour and a half, and it's honestly what. And it also reminded me of It's a Mad World.
Okay.
But instead of like chasing after the money, all the other spiders are
I
chasing
didn't have to
Miles.
yeah. I love the get Spider-Man, and we get the classic.
But throughout with hundreds.
Oh, with hundreds of them.
I also love Miles in the middle of the chase, and they cut away from the chase to like a spider therapist interviewing a Spider-Man, and the Spider-Man on the couch is talking about his Uncle Ben, and the spider therapist is like, "Let me guess, he died." And I was just like, "Did you really get to make this movie and make fun of yourself and then relaunch the movie?"
It's so
Because the
good.
moment the therapist goes, "Did he die?" There's like a beat, and then like Miles bursts in from the side, like 50 spider people, including a spider horse, are chasing him through it.
We get a spider horse, we get a spider cat, we get a spider Tyrannosaurus Rex.
We got Peter
Um,
Parked car.
oh God, it's so good. I wish we had gotten more, and I understand, like with it, I wish we had at least gotten some Peter Porker. Like I would have liked a little bit more John Mulaney. I know Nick Cage did not come back as Spider-Man Noir for this one.
Yeah, I
I
think they're gonna have him in for the end for round 3
Oh, let's hope
for the
so.
Spider Civil War that's about to happen.
I love that we get what I am is assuming slash hoping Aaron Lewis from the not the Tom Holland, as we get Donald Glover as the Prowler,
Yeah,
which is so good. Like I love the live action elements
I
that they
was just
brought
like, there's
into
like one
this.
line between Donald Glover and Daniel Kaluuya's Spider Punk character, and I was like, I could have easily watched like a movie on like that was just Daniel Kaluuya and Donald Glover, and just like Donald Glover outsmarting him and Spider Punk figuring out a way to catch him.
I just love it's so good. Just all the way they use the live action with Donald Glover, the way they bring in Andrew Garfield, the way they bring in Tobey Maguire for those shots, talking about going back to the Indian Spider-Man with the cannon and all of that. And it's funny because when they get to that point, Gwen gets the announcement like we got a canon moment coming up, and I'm so into the movie, didn't even register in my mind like canon moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like a canon moment of what makes them them. Like the defining moment. Everything is done so well. I just
Each
I
universe like exists and breathes as its own thing while connecting to everything else.
yes. Um the elements of oh my gosh, this I need to go back and watch it again just because there's literally so much that's happening that there's so much that happens that I should have just taken notes knowing that I was going to talk about this like on the show at some point because it's been like 2 weeks since it came out. Um, it's so good. Did you catch on at the end to the twist when Miles was sent home?
I actually did. I happened to see they don't focus on it in the movie, but at the time he jumps into the not a collider to avoid the rest of the Spider Society. You can see it's taking him to Earth 42 and not Earth 1610. But you have to you would either have to be looking for it, or you have to be like me and you happen to look at the screen while it was in,
Sure.
like, because it's like prominent enough to be seen by anybody looking, but it's not like beating you over the head.
Sure.
So the moment I saw that, I was
It's a
like,
nice touch. It's a
yeah.
nice touch that I didn't notice.
But I did not realize Earth 42 was Prowler Miles. That was the surprise.
Okay, so I realized that he was on in the wrong universe. The moment the mom was like, what are you talking about? Like, stop it. Like, is this
Yeah.
a cosplay? That's the moment I realized that. I realized that Miles was the Prowler a minute before the
The reveal.
reveal. Just the minute the uncle said, I'm not the Prowler. The minute he said, I'm not the Prowler, I was like, holy fuck, it's Miles.
Yeah. And the cool thing was, in that moment where he's talking to his mom right before they have their back and forth, you hear J.K. Simmons' voice doing Jonah Jameson, because he's Jonah Jameson in all the universes.
Everywhere.
So it's
He's
like
every
she's
Jonah.
watching the news and you don't see it, but you hear his voice, and he's talking about the Sinister Six, like having a chokehold on crime in the city is no one brave enough to stop. And it's like the only way that can be happening is in a world without a Spider-Man.
Sure. In one of the universes that they run through, it's essentially the I want to say it's the Lego one. It's J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson for the Daily Bugle, and it's almost the Spider-Man 2 set, the Tobey Maguire
Yeah.
Spider-Man set.
Yeah, they did a
And they run
Lego
through
version of the Spider-Man 2.
and they literally they make almost, I want to say, a original Spider-Man reference. There are so many good references and jokes that I was just laughing and popping on, to everything. I have to see this movie again. I have to see, luckily, like I said, I have the AMC pass, so I'll go see it again in 3D to see how the 3D effect is, and then the final time I'll go see it in IMAX.
Yeah, I ended up seeing it in IMAX for the first time. My wife got us tickets. She has one of those deals, but for Regal. We ended up seeing it in IMAX. And since I had not gotten high to watch Into the Spider-Verse the first time, I was like, I'm going to watch the first time Across the Spider-Verse high. I didn't get super high, but I got high enough to feel it. And it occurred to me pretty quickly that it did not matter how high I was going to get, because this movie honestly is higher than any human being can be and survive. Even Keith Richards.
It's true. This movie is just so, it's just so insane, and it's so great. Um,
Because people were kind enough not to spoil it for me, but the free things I heard from people who usually aren't prone to hyperbole were 50 out of 10. And then a mutual friend of ours, Daniel Palacio, I believe you know,
yep.
compared it to Empire and Godfather 2.
All right.
And as somebody who like loved Into the Spider-Verse, it wasn't like I was disbelieving fully, but it was also like 50 out of 10. Like, really? And then you go, you're just like, I think you might have undersold the 50 out of 10, actually. now that I've actually experienced it and seen the whole thing. And
it's just so amazing.
did you see that thing where some of the animated scenes, like there's an entire scene and it was done by a 14-year-old?
No, did not. No.
I'll have to find the link and send it to you, but apparently there's a whole animated series in there. They saw some kid do something online, and they were just like, we need some of that. So some of this is literally, but it also explains why the movie feels like the future. They're always going for what's next in animation, up to and including like the best middle schooler in the country.
Sure, there was
to like block out a scene for them.
there was a kid that made a Lego trailer for, I want to say, this film, for when the first trailer came out. There was a kid that made a Lego trailer, and they brought him in to, I think, help with the Lego scene. So like they definitely went above and beyond, like getting fan interaction, because I didn't know about the 14-year-old. I knew about the Lego kid, but I didn't know about that. It's exciting. It's awesome. It's something I definitely got to check out on my next viewing, like, because I'm
Yeah, and
definitely
it's
going to
just
see this
like
movie again.
it's another thing where like the movie rewards you for multiple viewings just because they throw so much at you. You obviously can't catch all of it.
The only thing I will complain about, and I know that they're doing their own thing, but you have this big colony of spiders and everyone. Where's Madam Web? How is Madam Web not running the whole thing? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, maybe she is.
I
Maybe
we
that's part.
get we
I
maybe
mean,
that's part
they
three.
they put up the whole web of life like during the movie,
They do.
a la Loki,
Yeah,
season
and
one.
but and I'm like, that's the perfect moment where it's just Madam
Yeah,
Web sitting in a chair in the background, and they're like, and Peter's asking about that, and then they just, so you just deflect right on this to something else. I know Madam Web is getting her own movie, live action. I'm pretty sure. Marvel's got a lot coming out, with everything.
yeah.
Um,
We're hearing live action Miles.
yeah, I hear there's gonna be a live action, which I'm we already have it, like, Into the Spider-Verse, which is a Miles Morales movie. We've covered the origins. Um, if we go into a Spider-Man Miles Morales live action, I hope they go more of a Spider-Man Homecoming,
Yeah,
where we already know the origin story. This is 6 months, a year into them doing the gimmick, living the life. But with that, I've seen the cast, and with that, I see there. I want to say there's someone playing Prowler. So if we get this with the Prowler story again,
well, I mean, at least one somebody.
well, we'll see how it is.
Who knows what the trip is going to entail, and
Oh, sure, sure. Who knows what's going to happen with what? I will say, not deflect, just talking about something else. The one thing I'm disappointed with going into Flash, is this is technically supposed to be Flashpoint for Flash in comics, and with that we have Bruce Wayne as Batman, Flashpoint, Thomas Wayne as Batman. Martha Wayne is the Joker, because Bruce is the one that was murdered that night instead of Thomas and, Martha. That's my only complaint with that. We've covered a lot with Spider-Man. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before I let you, go to your day, sir?
oh, I was honestly going to ask you if you can remember what was your favorite joke in the whole movie, because I think like as great as this is, and because like the inclusivity is great, the family story is impactful again, but I think it can get lost, especially because of the depth of the animation and
Yeah,
the layering. Like this is frequently a very funny movie.
they man, they're I it's okay. So I definitely laughed huge. I got a huge pop from, J. Jonah Jameson in the Tobey Maguire verse. So I think that was the Lego one where he goes through and he's like, "Oh, God, kidding, this, that, or some shit like that." Um, maybe something, that Huddy said. How about you? Do you remember your?
I do remember when Gwen was fighting the Renaissance Vulture,
Okay,
voiced by a member of the Lonely Island, by the way, because I remember I was bringing that up earlier. It's Jorma.
okay.
But I do remember they're having a fight at the Guggenheim, which adds a layer to the joke because it's a modern art place. So of course somebody from the Renaissance thinks it's garbage. But they're having a fight in midair, and he's complaining about it. And she was And he was like, "Oh, he said something along the lines like, "Oh, you call that art?" And she's like, "Well, we're talking about it, aren't we?" I kind of think.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's all because it's all perspective.
yeah, I was just like, so you literally, it's one of those things where like the joke is like a tiramisu. Like there's a joke for everybody,
it's very
and then
layered.
there's like four other jokes. And if you're nerdy enough to like know all the references and stuff, like you got five jokes at once. Like I only got that fortunate because I used to be like a security guard at a museum, so I can't like really define things, but I know like a difference of like a modern art thing with. So like a Renaissance being like jumping into like the 21st century and being like, this is an art. And also as like a meta commentary, which they also get to have with Miguel about like because Miles and Gwen and everybody are breaking the canon of like what is and isn't Spider-Man or person or pig or cat or whatever, or like this isn't art because this isn't the Peter Parker I grew up on, you know. So it's another thing like
Which I love because I see a lot. I love going on Twitter. The majority of my time is going on Twitter and dealing with racists, dealing with just fat-headed fucking idiots. And the people that I see a lot of like Miles Morales isn't my Spider-Man. I've seen it. I've literally seen Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man. And I'll just go on and I just troll the shit out of them because I got nothing better to do with my time. But it's I love the view of, and not every Spider-Man has to be the same. Not every Spider-Man has to have the same story.
yeah. And even with Miguel being the antagonist, if not like the outright heel. By the way, we haven't even talked about the spot, which was phenomenal the way they built him from nothing to like a god tier character
Oh,
and
sure.
still having like the early stuff with Schwartzman doing the voice and anchoring it in
I
his new greatest comic book supervillain role, having taken a decade and a half to beat Scott Pilgrim and Gideon Graves. But just the idea of like, and I love like some of what the spot is also like the rare thing of Miles being in a place of privilege, because you can imagine the sort of things that get said to Miles Morales about him being Spider-Man. But at first he dismisses the spot as like a villain of the week.
Sure.
Which if you're a serious villain, you can see as it's its own pejorative.
And that's and there's the whole build of him just kind of they start him as a very goofy, almost comical villain of the week. And the more he builds and the more he gets, like the more powerful. And I think that he's really going to be like the main antagonist in the net in
In the third
Beyond.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
in Beyond
I
in
think
it.
Prowler Miles is going to have to do the babyface turn
I
to
do.
help
I think
stop
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be very interesting because in world, what is it? 41, 42,
42.
40. Is it really Universe 42? It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah, and it also for somebody in Miles's spot, it also ties back to Jackie Robinson being the first black baseball player and wearing 42 for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Copy that. Copy that. For me, I'd always Douglas Adams for
Oh no,
me.
I was like, for me, it's more so Douglas Adams, but seeing him because he's wearing like a Brooklyn 42 jersey at his dad's promotion party.
Okay.
But it's also because that universe, because the number does come in later, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
when he tries to get back home and does it. And I was just like, so you literally got to do like Blazing Saddles, and you got to do It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, and you got to end it on a quantum leap to Nega Miles.
Oh my God, it's so. And what I was saying is when we get beyond the Spider Verse, I'm really hoping we get to actually see the Sinister Six.
Yes.
We have yet to see a theatrical, because we've had the Sinister Six in comic form.
Yeah.
We've had the Sinister Six in cartoon form on TV. on the Spider-Man animated series. I know we had the Sinister Six there. I want to see the Sinister Six. And here's the shit thing about it. They teased it after Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, which we never got the Sinister Six. And in Spider-Man No Way Home, they give us five. They give us five of the Sinister Six. You couldn't have just thrown in one more person. You know what I mean? You couldn't have thrown in what? Just bring Rhino, bring Craven. There's a handful of other villains that you could have brought in for the Sinister Six, and
It's
they
true.
and it is very true. It is very true. I have so much gripings with No Way Home. I love No Way Home, but
I'm also wondering, like, just like what it's going to look like.
oh, I just
Because so far as I'm concerned, these are the people doing like the best visuals in the business. So
I think that we are going to get the same level that we are on right now for Across, if not a step up.
yeah. Because everybody was talking about this being a step up for the first movie. And I was like, that seems sort of impossible because the first movie was kind of perfect and great. And then I saw the second one. I was like, oh, this is one of those rare things where everybody is right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I write down, if I hear quotes and I like them, I'll always write them down. I wrote down a I wrote down a line, and I'm pretty sure that this is something that Hobie says to Miguel. Not every conversation has to make sense.
Oh, it took on more impact at the end of the movie, but I did like it bookending with Gwen sort of like rage quitting her own band, but then joining Miles at the end to break away from the Spider Society. And she was talking about like, well, I formed my own band.
Yeah, it's just the start to the end, everything in between. Like, this whole movie is just, I cannot say so much, so spectacular, so amazing. If you haven't seen it in the theater, go see it in the theater. See it before it leaves theaters, because it's gonna be in there for a while, I'm sure.
As it should be. But yeah,
As
there's like a handful of movies every year that just have to be seen in the theater, and this is definitely high
one
up
of
on that
them.
list.
Yes, absolutely. There's just, I mean, there's, I feel like there's so much more that I want. Once again, I want to go see it a second time, because like when they're walking, when they first get into the multi Spider-Verse, and we're going through like the Hall of Villains, like there has to be more in there. Like, sure, you have a group of prowlers from different universes, but there has to be other villains. There has to be layered
Yeah.
Easter eggs and things that I just, oh man, I think I'm gonna go see IMAX for the next time.
And I did love honestly, because I'm a big Scrubs nerd, the contrast between Miguel O'Hara and Hobie Brown, Spider 2099 and Spider
Mm-hmm.
Punk.
Yeah.
It honestly reminded me of the first episode of Scrubs, where they build Dr. Kelso up as the good guy for 20 minutes and Dr. Cox as the asshole. And you think, oh, this is how the show is going. And then a thing happens, and you're just like, oh, wait, that's a jerk
Oh.
in a suit and is an anti hero. Oh.
Yeah.
And I just love Hobie just like popping up in these. They do it like a newspaper style. Like, I heard on a YouTube thing, they even do his animation offbeat. Each individual part of his animation is offbeat
Okay.
because he's part, but he's not part.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
was always even from the beginning, he was over Miles' shoulder, just like, be sure you know which war you're fighting, like grabbing side pieces to make the thing to help him get out. He teaches him the thing about like make sure you use your whole your palm and not just the tips, which helps him break out at the end. So he like literally is setting Miles up to like break free from the
The whole
beginning
the whole
the whole
time.
time. But like in a devil's advocate sort of way.
Sure, but
If
I
Paul
mean,
Heyman was like a punk rock baby face. Like
sure, but I mean, even with that, the moment he came in, at no point did I dislike him. At no point did I think that he was nefarious in any way. But that's just me, because I love British culture. Like, half of the shows that I love are from England.
yeah, it
Like,
was just like he was like, I don't know if
He's the
you've
Sex
read some of the
Pistols. He's
comics
fucking
that
he's punk
he's,
rock.
but like I don't know if you've read some of the comics or like some of the stuff he's done.
I
But
haven't.
there's a I found this out on a YouTube video because I've been intermittently watching YouTube videos about Across the Spider-Verse until I can see it again.
Sure.
Uh, so there's President Osborn in one world who's controlled by Venom and has like an army, and Hobie Brown literally fights him with like a shit ton of amps stacked sky high and like free punk chords and a punk army because Venoms are super sensitive to noise. And
Sure.
there's like a right-wing fascist version of Osborn who's like controlled by Venom and is the president. Hobie just kills him with the fucking Joe Strummer axe smash, like right across the face.
That's awesome. That's
So I was
awesome.
just like, oh, I have to buy all of these then, I guess. I'll just imagine Daniel Kaluuya's voice while I'm reading the comics.
That's awesome. Butch, anything else from the movie that you want to touch base on? I mean, it gets there is really
I mean,
so
there's so many
much,
things.
but I mean, in reality, it requires a second viewing, if not third, to like really
Yeah.
take it all in and get it. So
Honestly, it's just like a recapitulation of a thing I thought after Into the Spider-Verse. Where it's just like this movie has to serve so many masters. And the fact you get anything good at all, let alone something on this level, is really like hysterically remarkable. And it talks to like the entire small town it must take to pull this off.
oh,
Because it's
huge
just like
huge team.
the stories are great. The animation feels like the future. You know how you hear like a Missy Elliott song or like Pharrell on the Neptunes or something? You're just like, this sounds like what everybody's going to sound like 3 years from now, but right
Sure.
now.
Sure.
Like both of these Spider-Verse movies have done that.
Yeah, this is the future of what we should be doing with animation. Like what we have is great, but this movie, it's just I can't say enough good things about it.
And I will say, another great thing, they seated Miguel as an antagonist, and the way they did it was to insinuate he doesn't have a sense of humor, which is like verboten for the Spider-Verse. But the closest he comes to humor is Hobie's in the room with him when he's introducing Miles. And he's about to say something to Hobie, and he does the like, oh, I can't even with you. Hobie's like, I'm not even here, right? But it was
That is
just
that
like,
it is very fun. I can't. That's a very humorous with the I can't even.
it's like the most humor you can have for a humorless person.
It's like Bobby Heenan with Gorilla Monsoon. Would you stop?
So I'm not even here, right?
Man, I love this
And then he
movie.
got to do the quit on the way out, like right at everything. He's like, oh, the plan win according to plan. By the way, I quit. Bye. And he disappears off into a portal. You don't see him.
Up into the portal as his time travel thing just like lands right on the ground.
Yeah.
It's good.
I was
Uh
like, and that's like 5 phenomenal seconds from what I found out was the longest animated film of all time. It sure as fuck did not feel that way.
no way, man. No way, man. This was
I
this
I
was a
can't
quick trip.
remember the last time as an adult I was scared to go to the bathroom during a movie.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
just
even
holding it, but like I cannot get out of this seat. I can't miss anything at all.
Fast X. I
Because in
went to the
that anything, they
bathroom.
might have crammed 10 things in the anything.
Absolutely. At one point, Fast X, I went to the bathroom. Went saw Transformers. At one point, I went to the bathroom. I couldn't even move out of my seat for Spider Man. Like because you don't want to miss anything.
You legitimately do not.
All right, Butch. Well, I am going to let you get going on with the day. As we come to a close, is there anywhere online that you would like people to possibly find you? You'd like to plug yourself?
Well, I'd prefer not to. I have a wife for that sort of thing. But
Hey, happy
I believe I'm
International
on
Women's
Instagram
Day.
at the Butch Rosser.
All right, at the Butch Rosser. I can definitely throw that in the deets for the episode.
And you can find me on Facebook via Butch Rosser.
Via
But
Butch
that's just
Rosser.
me. I don't really have a thing I'm selling or anything at this moment.
Will you have vinyl championship?
Oh, Championship Vinyl, my podcast. Yes. I am
Yeah, don't
working
mind my
on a
dyslexia. Championship vinyl. Yes, you
I am
do. You
working
have
on a
you.
couple new episodes of that, but I'll also be working on a retrospective piece for Trouble Zine, formerly known as Trouble, but you can find them at troublezine.com. You can find some of my writing there. And next month, I'll be able to talk about LCD Sound System Sound of Silver, which is one of my favorite albums of the aughts, with my
Okay.
favorite song from the aughts on it. So I'm in research mode for that. Looking forward to that. That'll be out next month, probably just ahead of the Con of Comics.
Excellent. That's excellent. Well,
You
Butch,
might bump into a couple Miles Morales there, from what
probably
I've heard.
I won't be there. I always miss the
Oh, I
deadline
just go
because
downtown to party.
oh sure. I'm in
I don't
Marietta.
go to the con itself. I
I,
haven't gone to the
I
con itself in 20 years.
I'm in Marietta, so it's a bit of a drive. You can just take the train into San Diego, whereas if I go down, it's paying $50 for parking.
Yeah,
Um,
forget that.
it's been quite some time since I've been to Comic Con. I need to remember to hit the deadline, try and get a media badge. I've been doing the show long enough. I went to LA Comic Con with a media badge. Other than that, Butch, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, I was glad to be back, let alone talking about what's probably going to be my movie of the year, if I'm honest.
Sure. Well, the year's not up yet, but yeah, no, this is
This
definitely
is this is one where you see it right away. You're just like, so this is now in the conversation.
100%, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the last podcast you'd want. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, tip the veal, try the staff. We'll see you then.
Flip, flip.